Yo, what's good, people? So it's patch day and I've just recorded my live reaction. So now we're going to actually look into the moves themselves and see what's going to change. I'm going to show you what every move looks like before the patch. And then when the patch goes live, we're going to switch to obviously season 2. And then we're going to see what every move and his new moves look like in that patch. Okay, so now we're in game and I have the patch notes on the right. We're just going to go through the patch notes and I'm going to show you one by one what each of these moves look like. And obviously when the patch releases, we're going to look at the moves in their buff state because pretty much all of the moves were buffed on the patch notes. So let's get started. Okay, so the first change is 442. So it does 26 damage, it's 16 frames. So what they've done is they've sped up this move by 1 frame. So from 16 to 15, and they've made it a heat engager, right? So this is good, good change. Made this a little bit more useful. So 442, let's start with 442. 442 is a heat engager, and you can definitely see the speed. So let's see if it actually launches. Oh, is a heat launcher. Okay, that's insane. Okay, the next change is forward 1+2. So this is his famous power crush, right? So this move is a heat engager, currently on hit, high mid, and you can convert to down back 4 on hit, like this. Or at the wall, you could actually do, if we restart at the wall, and this is only at the wall, this is wall specific. So if you did forward 1+2, you could do forward 4-2 for more damage, but that's very specific to the wall. So currently on block, it's -14. So I'm going to put block frames on. See how it's -14. So this is now going to be -13 and no heat engage, which I think is a good change because it's still a great move. It just doesn't heat engage. Forward 1+2. So forward 1+2, you know, does what we expected it to do, doesn't heat engage. Still wall splats, I assume. Yes, it does. That's nice. Forward 1+2 is -13 on block, as you can see. So the next change on the list is back turn down 2. Obviously, he doesn't have that move yet. So this is a new move. Raven's new Revenant stab. But he doesn't have that move yet. So in season 2, in the new patch, we're going to look at if it count hit knocks down, if it count hit launches, what it actually does on hit and block. The Revenant stab. So this means, and it's only -12 on block, which is really good. So now what's going to happen is, I believe this will high crush from the first frame. Yep. So it punishes jabs into full crouch at +4, which is insane, right? I feel like they've made back turn back 2 a high crush as well. We're going to test that with some other jabs, but that's his new low. Back turn down 2 is really good. And it does 20 damage, which is very significant. It does more damage than down 4, which is insane. It does more damage than Aqua Spider. So this is a chunky low. This is a very, very chunky low. It literally does almost the same damage as down back 4. Super chunky, and it's only -12. So you can do this into back turn or, you know, standing jab. Yeah, Raven's about to be a mix-up machine. So Raven's down 2 in back turn actually does have a counter hit follow-up. So it knocks down at 24 damage, which is absurd. And we can do back 3 for 42 damage. And back turn power crush again at 42 damage. So insane. This low is ridiculous. This low is ridiculous. This low is actually ridiculous. Yeah, this low is crazy. Super strong. Okay, Soul Zone. You can now do Heat Burst from Soul Zone. You can do Heat Smash, I believe. From the wording that I'm reading, it seems like you can do Heat Smash as well from Soul Zone. And you can also do Soul Zone into Shadow Sprint, which is his crouch dash, right? So this is good for this, giving him more stance mobility. Okay, so Soul Zone can be cancelled into Heat Burst. Similarly, you can do Heat Smash. The animation looks amazing. Oh my god. So look at the animation. That animation looks so sick. So that's a great change. It's just a kind of quality of life. I guess it coincides with, you know, all the other kind of system mechanic changes. The last change before I forget is his soul zone crouch dash. So soul zone, just hold forward. But the thing is, you can't sidestep cancel. The change isn't as good as I thought it was going to be in terms of mobility. But after certain things like crouch dash, this is cheap. So you can mix. This is a safe mix. This is safe, and this is plus on block. They've given him an easy crouch step because here's the difference. If we look in the move list, right? So we've got crouch dash. We've also got crouch step. So we've got shadow sprint, which is his crouch dash, which is QCF, right? And you can shift the crouching state, as you can see there. But then crouch step, we need to find that in the move list. So here you can see while crouching, he has a slide input, which is crouch step. Now in the patch note, it specifies he can do crouch step. So down forward 3+4 transitions into this move, not crouch dash, which is better for us because look, you see? So this is the movement technique where we can access while standing moves. So we can do instant while standing 2 crazy, really easily now. Same with while standing 1. So his new crouch step. So as you can see, this is the full crouch version. Now you can't do instant while standing 2, it's slow. But what this is useful for is you can do instant full crouch sweep from like this range. You can't do that. Even if you do like, you kind of have to be in crouch for a little bit. You see how it's slower? You can't do this, but you can now with this new transition, which is just insane. Yeah, I like this. And you can mix it up with obviously his new safe while standing 3+4. Still heat dash launches. Lovely. So that's actually a huge buff. Insane change. So now we've got 2-4 during hit. We've got soul zone 1 during hit. Crouch dash. And then we've got back turn 2-1 into crouch dash. So these moves are grouped together and it says we can perform moves out of this transition now. So we can do up back 1-2. We can do up 3-3-4. We can do up forward 3. We can do up forward 4-4 or up forward 4. And we can do these moves, right? So we can do those moves because currently it doesn't work. You can't do those moves. So you can't do like up forward 4 after 2-4 on hit, right? You see, I'm pressing up forward 4 and it's not doing anything. It's just doing QCF 4. Back turn 2-1. So you can do moves out of this now. You see? So yeah, you can do moves out of these transitions, which is good. So I guess some quality of life mobility options. So from all the moves that you can transition from into crouch dash. So we've got 2-4. We've got back turn 2-1 into forward. 2-4 into forward. You can do moves out of this now, which is great. Okay, the next move we have is Soul Zone 3. So as you can see, this is +5 on hit, right? On block, it is... Let's just do this. It's going to block it. It's -4 on block, right? And he always transitions into back turn here. So you can't hold forward and make him go into neutral stance. That just doesn't work currently. You can't go into full crouch from this, which would actually be insane, to be honest. But those transitions are not possible yet. So I'm reading the patch notes right now. And what they're allowing him to do, it says after the move, Raven now warps and returns to standing position. So if you don't press anything, he's not going to be in back turn. He's going to be kind of like this. You know, like in front turn, I guess, or in neutral, which is good. So it allows us to be in back turn, or it allows us to be in full crouch now with these new transitions. So that's Soul Zone 3. And on block, as I said before, is going to be from -4 to -1, which is huge because this being -1 into back turn 1 is actually a plus situation, which is insane. Okay, now we've got Soul Zone 3. So Soul Zone 3 is going to do this transition, so where he warps, which I think is cool, to be honest. It doesn't change his kind of like, you know, his combos because it just has the same animation, but this is cool. So this is very cool. I like this. Raven is insane. Raven is actually insane. Raven is insane, bro. What is going on? Oh my goodness. Yeah, Raven's a mix-up machine now. Like, this is insane. This is insane. So that's Soul Zone 3 before I get carried away. So Soul Zone 3 does the kind of warp into, you know, neutral. He can hold back. They go into back turn at still +5. And then he can do it into full crouch, right? So this is actually a frame trap now. If they try to mash. Now on block, they did change this move to Let's Turn Punish off. They changed it to -1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select jab. We're going to do a jab here, right? So what we're going to do is go into back turn. This is actually a frame trap. That's crazy. So this is a frame trap? Okay, the next move on our list is back turn back to 4. So it didn't change the damage, but as you can see, it's +2 on hit. So the frame advantage has been adjusted on hit and block. So now this move is going to be +5 on hit. So the second hit is going to be +5 on hit, I should say, because what they've done is this is a combo on normal hit, right? As you can see, there's no counter hit. There's no counter hit enabled. So what's going to happen is now is going to require us to actually counter hit the opponent with this, which I think is actually a nerf, but considering what they've given him across the board is kind of insane. So it is a nerf because this has to be on counter hit, but they've not said anything about the kind of jailing property of the move because this actually jails, which means if you block the first hit, you can't duck the second hit. As you can see, this move is a mid-high. So you can duck the second hit if the first hit whiffs. You can't do that on block. So you can't duck. So currently this move jails. You see, I'm holding down back after the first hit. So we're going to do that again. See, it just doesn't work. So this jails. So it's not the end of the world. But what they've done now is, you see how I'm +9 after this. So on block, this move is -9. So we're going to put Raven back on block. So block all. So back turn back to 4 is actually -9 on block. They've changed this to 0 on block, which is insane. I think it's insane. So if this move still jails and is 0 on block, I think that's kind of crazy. The distance on the first hit has been reduced. So if you use this as a poke, you see how it pushes them away a little bit on hit. So this actually leaves Raven closer on hit, which is good because it allows Raven to mix a little bit more, especially with the new low as well. Empty crouch low. I think that's going to be insane because I used to do like with old back turn down 4. I used to do change my timing with empty crouch like that at the end of rounds. So it would confuse people and kind of mess up people's flash low parry timing and stuff. So the fact that he's getting a new high crush low in place of back turn down 4 is insane. I personally think this is the biggest buff. Now, of course, we have to see what the move actually looks like, the animation, if it high crushes, if it does anything on counter hit. But back turn down 4 didn't do anything on counter hit. It was just a poke low that was quick. So I think them giving him a new move out of back turn, a low that potentially high crushes. I don't see them not adding a high crush low because why would they do that when we have this, right? It doesn't make sense for them to just go through all the effort to make a new move and it just doesn't high crush. So I'm gonna say it's gonna high crush, but we're gonna actually test that out in the new patch. So that's back turn back to 4. We've got some frame changes. We've got some changes to where it needs to be counter hit to be a combo. Currently it doesn't need to be, but in the new patch you will actually need to land this on counter hit to, you know, get the full damage. Some further changes are that you can use this move and go into back turn by holding back, which is insane. So you'll be able to do this move into back turn at +5 if it's on counter hit. So if it's on counter hit, you can hold back into +5. And then you can also do this into full crouch, which is insane, right? So they've given that move new transitions as well, which I think is kind of ridiculous at this point if this move still jails, which is insane. Okay, so the next move is back turn back to 4. So it makes him 0, right? So this was not possible before. So that's cool. So it still jails, which is really good. And this is 0 on block, which is insane. Okay, so what about counter hit now? Back turn back to 4 it does act as a kind of counter hit fishing tool now. So this is a combo only on counter hit. The same with back turn back 2-3, which is a counter hit launcher now, which is kind of crazy. So you can fish for counter hit launch with this, which is just absurd. So the next move is his stand jab. His stand jab is very annoying because it has a lot of hitbox issues. And I personally think it's the worst jab in the game. I'm going to show you some situations where it just whiffs. And so, yeah, this is a great quality of life change. So I'm just going to jump into different characters and show you some situations where the jab would whiff. You see how that jab just whiffs? So you have to actually delay your forward 4, which is annoying because online that's quite a difficult timing. So if you do it early, sometimes the jab will just whiff. So that's going to be fixed, I believe. But look what happens if I try to jab this. See, it just whiffs. And I can't check this move with the jab. So this sequence is free for Jack. So hopefully his jab being buffed will kind of alleviate this problem because it's really annoying. So on block, it just whiffs, right? Okay, the next change is his jab. So we're going to actually test on a different character. So we're going to do Xiaoyu, and we're going to do the same combo we did before, but test if this whiffs. So it hits, which is amazing. Like, I can already feel the difference in his jab. So if you did an early 4-4-4 like this, it would just whiff every time it would whiff. Okay, look. Oh my God, it hits. This is amazing news. This is amazing. Yeah, this is fantastic news because what would happen is not just this situation, but like, okay, for example, Brian's QCB1, Electrics would just randomly high crush and launch Raven because I jabbed and it shouldn't be happening. So these situations won't happen anymore. So this is amazing. This is, I think, one of Raven's biggest changes, other than like maybe back turn down to QCF1+2 being plus, this being -14, these being -13. Like, what is going on with this character? Oh my God. Okay, so that's jab. Currently, Raven's clone attacks, all of his blue clones are -14 on block. So we're going to show you what this looks like. So you see how it's -14 on block. And this goes for all of his clone moves. All of his blue clones are -14 on block. So every one of his blue clone attacks, you know, Soulzone 3-2, QCF1-2, all of them are -14, which I think makes some of his matchups really bad. Like Brian could just launch him for free. Paul can launch him for free. Xiaoyu can launch him for free. Like, he can be punished heavily by a lot of characters. And I think it being changed to -13 shifts his matchup spread dramatically because he can't be launched for this now. Moving on. Okay, so all of his clone attacks, as I said before, will now be -13. So I'm only going to showcase one, which is down forward 1-4. As you can see, -13. Okay, let's do back turn 2-1. -13. So all of his blue clone attacks will be -13 on block. And his clone attacks still retain his old frames, right, at -3. Another change they added in the patch notes is his backswing, back 1+2, is now 30 damage. So it does 25 at the moment. So this will do more damage. Pretty simple buff, just does more damage. So that's it for his backswing. Just does more damage. I assume it's still -15 on block, which is launch on block for the majority of the cast. Okay, so his next change is his backswing is still obviously launch on block, but instead it does 30 damage now. So considerable increase in damage. As you can see, crazy damage. Another huge change for Raven is his wall running 3, right? So this is super slow, and on heat engage, a common option is wall running 3-4, like this, for example. So after heat engage, a common option is wall running 3-4. Now you can step this because it's so slow, both directions, which is very annoying, to be honest. While running 3 quicker by 4 frames, so they've decreased the startup by 4 frames from I-26 to I-22, which is crazy. We're going to see how that looks. The animation sped up that much because 1 frame of difference is crazy, but 4 is kind of absurd. So we're going to see what that looks like in the new patch. So while running 3, and then obviously in heat, he gets while running 3-4, which is insane. The next change we have is while running 3. Now, I've not seen this animation, It's insane. Oh my god. This is insanity. Look how quick it is. Bruh. What we're also going to test is the stepping after a heat engage. So even Victor could do this. And Victor doesn't really have the greatest step because he's considered super tall. So even this character could sidestep this both sides. So we're going to actually turn off heat. We're going to do 1+2. But we're also going to set Victor to do a sidewalk left. So characters could actually step this, Victor included. It doesn't look like you can step it now, which is insane. Okay, so let's try. So that was sidewalk left. What about sidewalk right? So 1+2. Yeah, he just doesn't have the frames to step anymore, which was very annoying, actually. So what about sidestep? Because I know sidestep is actually more evasive. Let's try sidestep, but you could sidewalk it before. Yep, so that doesn't work. And I specifically tested Victor, by the way. So 1+2. Yeah, this is amazing news. Amazing news. Amazing news. So QCF2 has been increased from 25 to 22, which is insane. So it's going to be pretty much as quick as down 4, which is kind of crazy. And the cancel is going to be quicker as well. So down 4 is 21 and QCF2 is now going to be I-22. Right? So it's going to be very, very difficult to react to. Also on counter hit, it's very strong. Very, very strong. So that's what QCF2 is going to do. It's going to be quicker, and also the cancel is going to be quicker as well. So QCF2 been dramatically sped up. It also retains its counter hit properties at +14. All right. Very interesting and kind of absurd change is while standing 3+4. So this move homes, right? This move actually launches on heat dash, as you can see. And now they've made it -9 from -12, right? So it's safe. So this move, if we look at block all, as you can see, it's -12 currently. Homing, -12 heat engager, but it's going to be safe, which I think is going to be insane. This move was actually safe at one moment in time in Tekken 7. And it was very strong as well as a kind of power move, power mid from crouch. Because I was asking for a power mid in crouch because I felt like Raven's risk reward in terms of like his lows and his mid threat wasn't that good. But now this is safe. This is kind of insane. And the fact that it still heat engages is absurd. So what we're going to do is this wall splats, right? So even without heat, so let's put not set. So no heat, right? This is what it does. And at the wall, it wall splats, right? So this, I think, is going to be insane. Okay, so his while standing 3+4 is -9, which is absolutely ridiculous. Still retains its homing properties. So as I said before, if you do Hell Sweep and then Souls 1 into 4 crouch, and then Souls 1 into crouch dash, 3+4, because it's already in crouch dash at this point. If you do Soul Zone, crouch dash 3+4 after Hell Sweep, that's a safe mix. You do QCF2. Like, the cancel is so quick. This is insane. This is actually insane. One whole season of being low tier and terrible and trash. Got to trash tier. Now we have some sizable buffs. This is insane. I can't get over down 2. This is actually kind of ridiculous. Because it high crushes obviously on frame 1, as you saw. This is outrageous. So we've got QCF 3+4 or while standing 3+4. Safe, retains the heat engage property, so we're gonna remove block. Obviously, and it's still a launcher, right? Okay, so the next change is Soul Zone 1. So as you can see, it's +8 on hit, right? But on block, it's actually -3. Right? So it's only +1 if you crouch dash. Now what they've done is they've made this move just plus anyway. They've made it +1 regardless of whether you crouch dash. Now I'm not sure whether this is going to impact the crouch dash frames. We're going to have to test that. But Soul Zone 1 is now going to be +1 by itself. And what they've done is they've given Soul Zone a crouch dash transition so you can do stuff like this into crouch dash. And you can't do that there in this patch. Okay, so Soul Zone 1 is +1 on block, which is kind of insane because now this acts as kind of a G-Clef counter hit fishing tool. And it's +5 on transition, right? So Soul Zone 1+2 is this. So it's a homing high, but they've made it a counter hit launcher. So now what's going to happen? Normal hit is still the same, right? But what they've done on counter hit is it doesn't do anything on counter hit now. It just does the same, but it's going to actually insta tornado. So like this, it will have this type of animation. So we'll be able to do the same combo as forward 4 because this is an insta tailspin, right? So the combo is the same because the animation is the same, insta tailspin with this move. So I think they want us to use this move a little bit more from Soul Zone, and it does a lot of damage. It does 30 damage on counter hit. So that doing a launch is insane. Soul Zone 1+2. So this move still does the same stuff on normal hit, but then on counter hit, I forgot we can't actually key charge to trigger that. So this is a massive damage counter hit launch. $93 damage. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So yeah, he can still front roll out of the move, but that's where the crouch dash comes in. You see? Which hits. Oh my god. It hits. So the front roll actually gets hit with while standing 3+4, which is ridiculous. So there's actual real counterplay now to that, which is just, this is just absurd. So amazing changes for Oki, amazing changes for pressure. It's just insane. Okay, so the next change is they have changed back turn 2-1 from -3 to -1 on block. So I mean, it's a quality of life change, I suppose. It's not the biggest change I've ever seen, but this is -1 now in the new patch. Okay, so the next change is back turn 2-1. So that hasn't been changed on hit, it's been changed on block, right? So this was changed from -3 to -1, which is good. This is a huge one. Back turn 3+4. Now this is kind of reminiscent of Kunimitsu, because Kunimitsu had a back turn launcher. Granted, hers was -12, right? But they've given him this move. Look at the frame advantage, -20 on block. This is -14 on block in the new patch. And the type of launch it does is huge. So this will be -14 on block in season 2, which is insanity. So I can actually call out people docking now without killing myself for it, right? So along with back turn 3+4, they've kind of done the same changes with back turn back 2-3, which is back turn back 2 and then back turn 3+4 added, and it's kind of a string version, right? So this is also going to be -14 on block. This is actually a counter hit launcher now. So this move is going to be a safe counter hit launcher, because this move is a combo on counter hit. So that's insane. So this is going to be a counter hit launcher, and it's only going to be -14. So again, this is a huge change. This is a huge change. I don't think people actually understand how significant this change actually is, because a lot of people, they will press after this sort of stuff. If we take counter hit off, this is +6. So sometimes if they do like a mid, if they want to check or disrespect this into this, is a frame trap if they do a mid. So you're going to trade with a jab because it's +6 and this move is 16 frames, right? But if they do a mid, you can launch them. And this is only -14, which is, this is crazy. Like, this is a crazy change. To make this -14 is just ridiculous. So again, that's going to be a counter hit launch. This is going to be a counter hit launcher, which is crazy. Back turn 3+4 is -14 on block, which I think is just kind of ridiculous. And it's an easy combo conversion, which is amazing, because before it was very inconsistent, which is just fantastic. So amazing change. Along with back turn 3+4, his back turn 2-3 is the same move. It just kind of adds a back turn back 2 in front of it. Now, what's interesting with this move is that now this becomes a counter hit launcher in back turn. So if we change the player counter to activate, you're going to see this is a counter hit launcher now. So back turn, back two is actually a counter hit launch. Which is insane. Okay, another huge change is back turn 1+2, the power crush startup frames have been buffed from 8 frames to 6 frames, which is crazy because a lot of times you'll be able to jab Raven, for example, after like down back 2, you can jab him now and just completely beat his power crush. And that won't be the case now. So you'll be able to beat jabs. And obviously if you absorb moves, it's safe. So I'm going to show you what happens with a jab or a 10 frame attack. He's going to jab, right? You see how his power crush gets a counter hit. So I can't actually do that. Now we're going to do back 2-2. Again, this gets beat. So back 2-2 is -3 on block and it still gets beat. You see? Gets beat by jabs. So we're going to actually test how effective this is. You're going to be able to kind of do power crush in more situations. The next move we have is back turn back 3. So back turn back 3, all they've done is kind of increase the hitbox downwards. So it alleviates instances of whiffing in combos. This move sometimes would whiff depending on what combo you do. So I'm going to test certain situations where this might whiff. If you end a combo in a tailspin like this, you do 4-4-3 heat burst, that will whiff. So we're going to see if that actually works, which if it does, that's insane. The next change they've implemented in Season 2 is with his escape parry, which can be performed with back 1+3 or back 2+4. Similarly, you can do this in back turn as well. So you can do in back turn, while you're in back turn, you can do back 1+3 or back 2+4, right? So those are his escape parry options. Now it says in the patch notes that you can, after a successful escape parry, you can press it again to do an attack out of this. So this is what escape parry looks like, right? So it says if you successfully escape parry, you can press it again to do an attack. As you can see, nothing's happening. So we're going to test and see what the move actually is. The next change is escape parry. So it's not as what I thought it was going to be. It's basically, if you want to do multiple escape parries, the recovery is quicker. So it still has the same recovery. Let's say, for example, you want to do escape parry while standing 4, right? So we're going to see. So it takes long for him to recover and do while standing 4. However, if you see how quick the recovery is if we mash escape parry. So we can escape parry more things in succession because escape parry actually cancels the recovery of escape parry to do it again quicker. Now you couldn't do this before. So that's a buff. That's a defensive buff. See how quick it is. That's insane. So you can cancel the recovery and do it again. So really good change. The next move we're going to talk about is QCF3. So I think what they've done is there are certain combos where you do too much wall carry and this will just whiff. So maybe they've kind of increased the hitbox because it says they've actually increased the hitbox. So maybe they've increased the hitbox so that you can use it in more combos that are like really far wall carry. I'm going to show you an example of a combo that just drops. QCF3 just doesn't connect. And at that point, it would be that drops. So we're going to see what happens in Season 2. Try another combo. You see how that drops as well, right? So I think what might happen is you might be able to get that for a side switch or something. You see how it just drops? So QCF3 is a move where they just increase the hitbox, but we were doing a combo that dropped. It doesn't work there. You might need to sidestep. New combo route, QCF 1+2. Now, this move does 33 damage right now. This is actually a power mid. But on block, it's currently -9. As you can see, QCF 1+2, -9. Now, side note, you can actually go into full crouch after this move by holding down. So this is why this move is stupid, because now it's +5. They've changed this move to +5, which is just ridiculous. So imagine this move into +5. Like, what are they thinking? So this is +5, and then obviously into full crouch, or you can do sweep, or you can do, I don't know, aqua spider, or while standing 2. Or what you can do is QCF 1+2 into full crouch into while standing 3+4. Now this is +5 into a 16 frame homing power mid heat engage heat dash launching move. That's insane. That's actually insane. Okay, so we're set to sidewalk left. So this move doesn't really have that much tracking anyway. If you stepped it, you were just going to step it. Let's try sidewalk right, because that might be the way it tracks. Yes, okay. So if you sidestep right, it will track you if you walk. Believe it's going to become fully linear, which is fine, because I think for what it does is just ridiculous. So this move will become +5. Now they are reducing the damage a little bit. So it says it's going to reduce the damage from, I believe, let's see, QCF 1+2. So it's going to reduce the damage from 12, 20, 1, so that's 33 to 30, so only 3 less points of damage. But for +5, I'll take it. That's an insane buff. So the next move that they buffed is QCF 1+2. So it does slightly less damage at 30 damage now from 33. But what's changed about this move is that they made this move from -9 on block to +5, which is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so we're gonna actually set him to block all so you can see what it looks like. This is just absolutely absurd to me, to be honest, because you can go into full crouch from this, remember? That's a frame trap. That's an anti-movement button now after this, right? So this is just pure guessing. Like, this is just insane. The trade-off is that it does slightly less damage and it has a little bit less tracking, but to be honest, the tracking was already linear. But it did track one specific side. So we're going to see if you can step it both directions now. This move. So that side step or side walk left. And then we're going to do side walk right. So yeah, it's just linear. The second it doesn't track. Which is fine. I guess fine. Soul Zone 4. So Soul Zone 4 is -16 on block currently. +2 on hit. So if we look at the frames on hit as well. Point blank is +2, which I think the risk reward for this move is just terrible. So I actually said I think that what they should do is they should make the move -14 on block and +4 or +5. And that's exactly what they've done. So now looking at Soul Zone 4, the opponent's recovery time has been increased by 2 frames. So from -16 to -14 on block. And the hit advantage has been adjusted from +2 to +4. So again, I'm going to show you on block, as you can see. And then on hit is +2. See? Soul Zone 4. So Soul Zone 4, as you can see now, is only -14 on block, which is what I asked for in my Season 2 wish list. I said that I think the risk reward is quite poor for Raven. And so, yeah, they made it -14, which I think is excellent for this low. I think it allows us now to kind of throw it out, especially with the tracking performance that it has for both sides as well. So now it's actually +4 on hit, which is awesome. And now we're going to just check the counter hit and what it does on counter hit. So yeah, it just kind of leaves them sliding. So you can do like, I don't know, up forward 3, down back 4. Back 3, I assume as well. Yep. So let's see if you can actually sidewall right those options. So it seems like up forward 3 is the optimal conversion, or back 3. Crouch cancel back 3. You could also do this as well. So Soul Zone 4, Aqua Spider, down 2. You have to dash in back turn to do the down 2. Which I think is insane as well. So yeah, it did take a little bit of a nerf in terms of it losing the counter hit launch. I think it's much more viable as a low than it was before, because -16 launch on block is just ridiculous. I think it being -14 is absolutely fair, and it being +4 on hit normally is more than fair. So this is a great buff. Okay, so now we're going to look at his phase through attacks. So you see how Raven's kind of like flickering. This is supposed to be invincible, but it's not. And I'm going to show you an example of it not being invincible. So his transitions are back turn forward 3+4 forward. We've got 3tilde4 forward, so his cartwheel into forward. We've got back turn triple forward into back flip. And then we also had this one more that I think I'm forgetting. So there is, yes, there is. So there's back turn 3-4-4 forward. So So those are his phase through attacks. These are currently not invincible, which they were for the most part in Tekken. Well, I mean, in all Tekken iterations other than Tekken 8. So I think the invincibility frames were bugged. So I flagged it and they have actually addressed it. So that's really good. I'm going to show you an example of where he gets hit. So yeah, certain moves do evade it, but certain moves get clipped. And I think it's just weird. That is just completely invincible. So we're going to see this specific situation. I'm going to record again in season 2 and see if Raven gets clipped from behind with back 4. So now we're going to look at the phase through attacks. So as you can see, Raven just completely teleports off the screen, which is, this transition is sick actually, to be honest. So you see, it doesn't work because he's invincible. So that's really, really good, a really good change. So this actually works as a phase through attack because it just didn't work before. So amazing change, right? As you can see, it just doesn't work. So that's a huge buff. So back 2-4 does 29 damage, and in the patch it's going to do 25. In the new patch it's going to do 25 damage. So a slight damage nerf, it is what it is. It's not really a huge nerf, especially because Raven's combos don't actually use that tailspin for max damage. Like this would be the easy one that does a lot of damage, and then the other one that does max damage is QCF 1-2. So his combo damage really isn't affected if you're optimal. If you do easy combos like this, for example, then your combo damage is going to be affected, but that's not really optimal. If you want to do an easy combo, you can just do this. This is completely undroppable. So forward 2-3, sometimes if the first hit connected, the second hit would whiff. So at range 2.62, if you landed this move, sometimes the second hit would whiff. So at range 2.62, so we're gonna go back a bit. Put that hit there. You see how the second hit whiffs? So that's not gonna happen anymore. Now we're gonna look at this move. So it did actually whiff at range 2.62. So you see now it doesn't whiff. I'm gonna turn counter hit off. You see how it doesn't whiff? Amazing change. Amazing change. Sometimes down back 4 will just whiff randomly, so that's a hitbox fix, which is good. Buff, quality of life. Doesn't change anything to do with the move, the damage, the frames. It's just hitbox problems. I mean, personally, I don't really run into any hitbox problems with this move, but I have seen some clips of this just whiffing, so hopefully that's addressed. Down back 4, we've got hitbox fixes, which to be honest, I didn't really, find in kind of regular matches. So that's good. Quality of life. They've also expanded the hurt box because sometimes this did have some low profiling issues where it would whiff on hop kicks, for example. So that was sometimes not intended. Same with hell sweep as well. So his full crouch sweep would sometimes whiff, if the opponent tried to whiff punish too early, sometimes it would crush mids at times. So that's been fixed. I think that's fair changes, to be honest. I don't think that these moves should be, crushing mids or anything like that. I think that's fair. They're not really nerfs, they're just kind of bug fixes. And then we also have his down forward 1+4 could be performed in back turn like this. So this is gone. Just a bug. It doesn't really affect Raven in any way. You see? So this is gone. Back 2-2. Right. So I'm going to pick Jack and I'm just going to make him hold back because he could avoid this by just holding back or backdashing, which is very weird. So I'm going to test that with Jack as well. So yeah, he can't just backdash that anymore. Obviously, if you delay it enough, he can, which all characters can do that. If you delay it, you do back 2-2, he can't just backdash, which was very annoying. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hold back as a punish. So we're going to set punish and then we're going to do, I'm going to record it. I'm going to record it myself. Hold back, right? Yeah, he can't just hold back out of it, which was huge. It was a huge issue. So now he can't just hold back out of that. So those are all of Raven's changes that he received in the patch. Now, we are going to do a follow-up video in terms of, how these changes affect his stance, how they affect his gameplay, how they affect his risk reward. So definitely do stay tuned. I'm working really hard to get these videos out. I need to do my patch note reaction video to get that up on YouTube. I need to edit, this video and get it up on YouTube. But there's a lot of work to do, but I'm super excited and I'm super glad that Bandai Namco actually buffed Raven in the correct spaces. Like giving him a low that's viable, that high crushes in back turn is amazing. So kudos to Bandai Namco for listening to the Raven community and actually implementing changes that make a difference to Raven. So yeah, I'm literally gonna head off, get on my editing software and try and get these videos up for you guys as quickly as possible. But I hope you enjoyed my reaction and the kind of patch season 1 to patch season 2 breakdown.